Hello, everyone. Welcome to PHOGS, very cool video game that I'm excited to show everyone. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started right away. So timing is not going to start when I select a new save file, but it's going to start on the first input after selecting a new save file. So I'll select a new save file right now, and then timing will begin in 3, 2, 1, go. So PHOGS is a physics-based puzzle platformer where you control what is basically cat dog, but it's two dogs, and then you got sort of like a stretchy tube connecting them that you can stretch using either trigger. You can bark with each head using either bumper, and you can move around each head using either thumbstick. So it's sort of a twin stick game, at least when you're playing it solo, which I am, but this game does have a heavy co-op emphasis. Though in terms of the run, there's not really much difference between solo and co-op other than coordinating things to be hard in co-op. All right, I'm going to start off this tutorial level by doing a very specific set of inputs to get back into this tube. It's going to try and spit us out. I don't want to be spit out. I want to get back in. Usually takes a few tries. If I'm doing like actual attempts, I'll give myself 3 attempts at that before resetting. And I still got to get over an invisible wall right there. And there we go, that skips like 90% of the tutorial level. Right here, I'm gonna go across that corner to get into the checkpoint trigger more quickly. So checkpoint triggers in this game are what are called one-head triggers, which means that you only need to get one head into them before them to activate. There are 2-head triggers in the game. The most notable ones are death planes as well as end level triggers. And that's gonna be relevant for the very next level. Anyways, I hope you learned a lot about the game because that's the end of the tutorial. That's all you got, sorry. So yeah, it's very good. That tutorial skip saves like 3 minutes or something. It's great. The tutorial is a long level and there's not much to it outside of the big skips, so it's good that it has a big skip. And luckily lots of levels in this game have big skips. I'm gonna do a quick to the main menu right here so that I can skip some cutscenes. That's gonna be something I'm gonna be doing a lot. If you see me quit out of an area to like a different area, the reason I'm doing that is absolutely, or yeah, I think there's no circumstance I'll be doing that other than to skip a cutscene. So for example, I'm going to do it again right here. One thing worth noting is I do have to wait about a second before getting back into this worm. The reason for that is because the worm's collision only spawns about a second after you respawn. So if you actually go back in right away, you're just going to fall straight through. So we're going to go to our first main level, which is Dreamfields. That being said, if all goes well, this will be shorter than the tutorial level because we got more big skips. I'm going to do a cool little micro optimization here though by stretching into this shape to get over this wall instead of going straight up just a little bit faster. And so I'm going to get to this area here, and I'm going to jump off this wall in such a way that I'll fall through a death plane. So what I want to do is basically fall vertically. So I have a setup for that, and it does this, and then you fall vertically through a death plane. And now we're at the end of the level. Unfortunately, nothing's loaded, so we can't actually get this worm open. But the end level trigger does poke out very slightly from underneath it. And if you respawn while you're in the trigger, it won't remove the flag saying you're in the trigger. So even though it's a 2-head trigger, I just need to get the head in again. And there you go, there's the end of the level. It's amazing, great skip, love it. And now we're gonna move on to the second level, which is Ringwood. Can you pet the dog in PHOGS? No, but many NPCs will pet the fog. And you'll see at least one instance of that, unless I deliberately ignore the guy. There's one guy, he can pet you, and it won't lose you anytime. So if you're doing a run, you don't let him pet you. It's bad vibes, just awful vibes. Speaking of awful vibes, the very first trick of this level is awful vibes. So I'm gonna pick up a safety checkpoint right here in case I fail it. So I want to get on top of this root and fall like at a perfect angle. Ooh, I already don't like this. Wait, it's fine. Okay, cool. So that tree trunk is coated in what's called a slippery surface, which makes it so that you have no friction, which means once you land on that trunk, you're not going to be able to realign yourself. What I just did there is sort of a main movement tech called an uppy, where I mash bark and stretch at the same time with the head, and that will sort of transition the height you would get from a bark into vertical height from the stretch, which will allow you to climb very steep walls. So what I just did there to skip that little puzzle, that light wall is supposed to respawn when you grab the moon, but if you're already inside it, inside the light wall when you grab the moon, it won't let you get stuck, so it'll just let you go through anyways, and you can just skip the entire puzzle there. Gonna do a little checkpoint skip here. There's a cutscene. There's a cutscene in the middle of this intersection, and I don't want to watch it, but it looks like I might have to watch it. No, we're good. I'm surprised I didn't actually hit the trigger there. I'm a little shocked. But you can pull yourself up here and skip that cutscene. So next up is a part that shouldn't really be hard, but it's one of those things where all of a sudden, like, my muscle memory just collapsed on it. So we'll see how it goes. Unfortunately, if I do fail it, I will lose quite a bit of time, and that's falling through another death plane right here. Now we're good. So if I failed that, I'd go back to the beginning of the previous section, like before the cutscene skip, and it would lose a lot of time. Up there to pull the moon up, and we're going to be introducing ourselves to a good friend that you'll see a fair bit in this run, and it's the alarm clock. Alarm clocks are the true S+ top tier object in this game. You can do anything with an alarm clock, and anytime an alarm clock shows up, expect big skips. For example, this alarm clock right here. I'm just gonna do another cutscene skip there by going around that dude, and then launching myself up and over, and skipping basically this whole room. So the thing that is amazing about alarm clocks is that their collision box, everything in this game has like a cylindrical collision box with two domes on each end. But the alarm clocks, the cylinder is really tall and the domes are really short. And the result is that, The result is they get stuck on basically everything. So they're very good for flinging yourself through the air, because you can just get them stuck on the tiniest thing and then do that. The fastest way to row this boat is to alternate, because the boat only moves forwards when an oar is moving backwards. So by doing that, you can make sure an oar is always moving backwards. I'm gonna jump into the end of level trigger here because it's a little bit faster. And then after a few seconds, level end. There we go. Gonna do a quick to the home hub to skip this cutscene. This will also move me slightly closer to the next level. And we're going to move on to the third level of Sleep World. All the worlds in this game are named after the three things that are most important to a dog. That is sleep, play, and food. So we're in Sleep World right now. Now we're going to move on to Watcher Walkways, which is one of my favorite levels in the game. There's a lot that's really cool here. So the main gimmick this level introduces are these birds that will see you, and if they see you in their spotlight, they'll try and grab you and take you to the nearest bed. With the exception of this worm, or this bird, who is absolutely awful at their job, and so long as I keep moving, will be unable to grab me. I don't know why that bird is like that, but it's very handy. This bird is Employee of the Month, however, and if he spots you, there's a good chance that you're gonna lose like a minute, so make sure you make this cycle, or wait for the next cycle. Things can get very, very bad. And now we're gonna move up to the fun stuff. So another gimmick is these gravity fields. The interesting thing about gravity is that in these gravity field triggers, your gravity is actually calculated independently for each head. So for example, I can set Blue's gravity to down right now, and now I have two heads of two different gravities, and the result is that I can do this. It just works. No good way to get into this worm, so what I'm gonna do instead is this little lock-picking trick. So what I'm trying to do is build up force so that I actually get stuck inside the worm like that, and that's gonna despawn the front wall because it thinks it needs to let me out, and then I can just walk in. Right. For whatever reason, that only works on like half the worms in the game. We haven't really been able, as far as I know, to find any reason why it only works on some worms. Some are just built different. forced to let this bird grab us and take... Ooh, what is going on there? Okay, and then respawn here to skip the end of the animation because there's a checkpoint there. Do a pretty tricky climb up this wall. Nope. No. Okay, do a not so tricky but very slow climb up this wall, which will force you to grab that bone like 90% of the time, and is for that reason really bad. But it's very easy. So, yeah. The other climb up there, it's sort of like you go for it. If you don't get it, just do the backup. Alright, gonna jump up here and land on top of the spine of this book. Never mind. Pranked. So I was trying to skip this cutscene because the trigger isn't actually that high up, so if you land on the spine, you won't get that cutscene. But unfortunately, I did not land on the spine of the book. Cool tip, instead of just going for it immediately like I did right there, take half a second and line up. Gonna do a pretty tricky setup to grab this alarm clock through an invisible wall, and then despawn the invisible wall, and then just fall down here, and that's gonna skip basically the whole rest of the stage. And that is Watcher Walkways. And that is actually the last level of sleep for the run, because we have everything we need to make it to the boss level. If you saw those fish way in the back over there, on the far right, that's where the trigger is. We need to get over there. So you might ask, well, how could you possibly get that far? That's like a kilometer away, basically. Look how far that is. Well, you might also see some alarm clocks to the left. And as I said, anytime you see an alarm clock, expect big skips. This is no exception. Even though I'm not in a level, it's no exception. I'm just gonna enter and exit this level to reset my checkpoint to here. That's just gonna make it easier in case I fail, or make it take less time in case I fail. Wouldn't do that if I was doing actual runs, but marathon is marathon. If I failed this once in an actual run, I just reset. Do a pretty tricky little hover across here, and then you're gonna pull yourself up and then pray to your... I failed the depth perception check. You hate to see it, the classic. It's so hard to judge. You ever try to judge depth on a 2D screen? Not easy. Alright, we're good. I'm gonna stretch off here and then launch myself down this way and hopefully land on this blue platform. Hopefully pull myself up onto this blue platform. Alright, I'm up. Cool. And then get up here, and we're almost at the final step of the skip, which is unfortunately the hardest step of the skip. Which is to get onto this ledge. I have a new setup for this that's different from what I used to do. We'll see if it works this time. It's like worked every other time in practice. Basically, I'm gonna do one fling up, and then launch myself up, and hopefully make it all the way to the trigger. It's looking decent. I don't know. Yes, I got it. Okay, welcome to Nightmare. This is the boss level. So we just skipped 3 levels and saved about 7 minutes. So you're supposed to go on the stained glass window here, but instead I'm just gonna go right up the back because it's faster. If you go up on the stained glass window, it's gonna start a cutscene. Not fun. Instead, you can just clip into the checkpoint from here. And camera will fix itself in a second, don't worry about it. And now we're gonna move on to the hardest uppie in the game. It's Nightmare Uppie. Both describes the level it's on and the difficulty of the uppie. Nope. Third try. Make sure you don't land on this alarm clock, or else you're gonna start a cutscene. And it's gonna really frustrate you, because I've done that accidentally, and it's just the worst. So the whole point of this level is to hit those light switches, and those are gonna... Oh, can I get up? There we go. And the light switches are gonna damage the boss and then start a cutscene. we're actually going to do this entire level without hitting a single light switch because it's faster. Which means we're not actually going to defeat the boss or like solve the problem or anything, but that's fine. Unfortunately, I'm not in the right cycle to do the cool alarm clock skip here, so in case I'll do the regular no alarm clock. No, it's pretty exciting. It's a good route. It just doesn't involve a wild alarm clock fling. Head up here. We do need that moon, but luckily the game knows we need that moon, which means it's not going to let us get away without having that moon. So if I actually just respawn here, it's going to give me the moon for free. Very handy. Nice anti-soft lock thing that helps with speed tech. And then just hit this pendulum, and that's the end of Sleep World. So this is supposed to show the sun waking up and being all happy, but because we never actually damaged the boss at all, it's still here, full size, full health, everything. So the cutscene's not going to really play properly, but just imagine the sun's waking up here and it's super happy. And this guy's not here at all. And then go to the home hub, skip cutscene. Normally another cutscene would play here, but the flag for it isn't set because we didn't actually finish every level in Sleep. Amazingly, the flag for beating the game is still fine, so it's a miracle that it actually works. Another quick hub to skip the intro cutscene. I'm happy to listen to any and all PHOGS lore theories, so big PHOG lore fan. Gonna head on to the first level of Breezy Beach, which in my opinion is one of the hardest levels of the game. So this will either go really well or like really, really bad. We'll see. So I'm gonna start off by upping onto an invisible wall that's right here, and then pulling myself up, and then sort of getting yourself into this position. Because it's a good position, and then jump and hope you make it. Looks good. Nice. All right, we will not be talking about corn dogs, Rare. Nice try though. And then there's no good way to clip into this worm, so I'm gonna have to do something pretty wild, which is a very specific setup to get, no, it didn't work out, to get both heads under the worm so that I can get both heads into the trigger. The trigger on this worm, it barely pokes out for reasons that I don't understand. It's not like the one on Dreamfields where you can just like chill. Okay, both heads are under. Now I gotta find the trigger. So I gotta get both heads into the same trigger on the same frame. I don't really have a setup for this. Just keep fiddling around until you get it, and I got it pretty quick. So honestly, that was pretty good. I've been under that worm for literal minutes just hunting for the trigger. It's an absolute nightmare sometimes. And now that we're past everything hard in this level. Now we're going to do the rest of the level more or less normally. But this is like the very end of the level. So we saved about like 5 minutes or something by doing what we did. Oh, that was a mistake. So I was reading what was going on in the chat. And so the main gimmick of Playworld is you have to do mini games to get stars, and that'll open the worms. We're gonna not play most of the mini games in this world because they usually take a long time. So that was Breezy Beach. And if you thought the big skips of Playworld were done, you really do not understand how this game works. This is the best speed game ever, unironically. Just constant tech. Somehow this game ends up having an amazing speedrun. Do a bit of a micro optimization to just cut this corner and go into next level, Putting Pirates. So Putting Pirates has two mini games. There's a mini golf game, and then there's a Super Monkey Ball style, like inside the ball game. We gotta push the ball around a course. I'm gonna do half of the golf game and none of the ball game. And even then, I'm not really gonna be playing the golf game. I need the golf ball. The golf ball isn't quite alarm clocked here, but it is in the next tier down. It really is a fantastic object. Only let down by just lack of appearances in the game. If there are more alarm clock, or if there are more golf balls, I'm sure we'd find uses for them. But this is the only real one we have. But it's great. So what I'm gonna do is, as soon as this golf ball spawns, I'm gonna push it off and launch it off to the side, and then respawn and buffer a grab by barking and holding bark. And that's gonna grab the ball in the first frame, and that's gonna grab it in an unloaded state where I can still pull it around like normal. And what that's gonna let me do is when I grab it next, it'll be locked in place until I shoot it, even if I'm in midair. So I can just launch myself off here, jump on off, and then that looks good. And then now it's locked in place, and now I'll just fling myself off with it. Like that, and hopefully get to the end of the level. Unfortunately, I can't open this worm yet, but luckily, I can go over here, and I can go over here if I actually do it right, but bear with me. There we go. Go over here, and this windmill has no collision, which is very handy because the cutscene trigger for the end of the level is right here. So normally, this is for like the monkey ball game. The ball goes into this tube, and then it gets spit out, and the ball breaks, and then you get out of the ball. We don't have the ball, so the cutscene doesn't really work, but we get the star anyways, so it doesn't matter. And then open up the star, and that's Putting Pirates. If you thought the big playworld skips were done, you really do not understand how this game works. So I'm gonna do a put the hub right here to just move myself around. And then we're gonna move on to 5-star arcade, also known as 0-star arcade. 5 mini games we gotta do to get 5 stars. I'm gonna do none of them because they all take a long time. So I'm gonna get some assistance from the best minigame in probably the entirety of Playworld, which is the air hockey minigame in here, which also has another incredible object in the air hockey paddle. So just gonna move up here, and then air hockey's on the left. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna uppy on up, and also grab onto this garbage bin, and then hopefully pull the air hockey paddle out. And the air hockey paddle is cool because it's locked to height, which means I can just go over here and then do one stretch to build up speed, and then do another stretch to go. And that's going to take me to the end of the level. And then head up on here, and then I'm gonna do the same lockpicking type thing you saw me doing on Watcher Walkways back in Sleep World. So I'm just gonna keep building up force until I get stuck in the worm. And then like that, and that should despawn the front wall. So I just walk in. That's 0-star arcade. If you think the big skips of Playworld are done, you are unfortunately right. As much as it breaks my heart, Playworld has an absolutely hog wild first half, and the second half it's got some cool stuff, but it is certainly much, much slower. This is Cosmic Coaster. Main gimmick are these little coaster sections. Not too much to talk about for these. You grab onto them and then hold the direction you want to go. However, as you might expect, these are objects you can fling off of because they're kind of locked in place in the air, which is sort of a good sign for an object. And I'm going to be doing that a bit later. Stretch here to hopefully make this cycle. I did not make the cycle. And let myself off here. And lockpick into this worm. This one's a little awkward because the camera angle is to the side, which makes it harder than you might think. I think that might be good. I might as well try it because I got knocked off, but nah, it wasn't good. Heartbreaking. Okay, please work. Please, or else we'll do the backup. All right, I'm doing the backup. I haven't done this in so long, but oh well. Going up here, getting small. This is slightly slower. So being small is a very good property to have because the worms have an animation where they look to one side and then they look to the other side and oops. Shoot. He's going, no! I missed it! Can you tell it's been a while since I've done this strat? No? Okay, why am I struggling with this? Okay. I'm up, I missed that cycle too, but at least I'm up here. So, the cycles for the look side to side animation are random. So you just gotta get lucky. Though it also would have helped if I made it up here in time. But when it looks this way, I'll be able to just hop on through. A hole will open up that's large enough for the small-sized fog to fit through, which is why it's very good to be small. Bumper car minigame here. This is one of the easiest skips you can do. You want to do this in your casual playthrough because you're finding the bumper car game kind of annoying. Just go up here, and then just uppy, and then you're good. You did it. Really cool little fling here that's actually a pretty recent discovery, like a couple months old. Just jump over here, grab onto this, and then bring yourself over. Skip that section. And end up here. Now I'm going to be flinging off one of these coasters, and it's the worst. If I get this first try, I will be so happy. So, the thing that's frustrating... Oh, I got it first try. So the thing that's would be frustrating about that if I didn't get it first try is that when you move the coaster slightly away from the ledge, you won't be able to let go of it. So you have to let go of it. It's a very precise timing for when you're able to actually let go of it and still fling yourself. If I'd waited like half a second longer, then I wouldn't be able to let go. And then I'd get mad. Oh, I'm in. No, I'm out. No! I was in, bro. No. Unfortunately, if you leave the worm completely, the wall's gonna respawn. I was not expecting to actually get in there. Okay, I don't think that worked. Please let me in. It worked. Cool. Luckily, that's the last one of those I'm gonna have to do in the run. So that's sort of the end of Cosmic Coaster as far as Cosmic Coaster having strats goes. This part right here is more or less an auto-scroller. You just hold forwards. Very, very exciting. There are some cycles coming up, but whether I make those, they're global cycles, so whether I make those just depends on how I did in the actual level. It's this right here, these satellites. Alright, 1, 2 out of 3. Very close to being a 1 out of 3, and that would have made me upset. End up down here and head on over to the end of the level. So something interesting is that this part of the level is actually, contrary to most levels, fully loaded from the start of the level, meaning that if you could somehow get over here from the beginning of the level, potential for a very large Cosmic Coaster skip. And that's the end of Cosmic Coaster. So it's a pretty cool hub movement coming up right here to get to this next worm, if I can do it well. If I don't do it well, then it'll be some pretty mediocre hub movement, but some decent looking hub movement. I haven't gotten this in a long time, so. Yeah. So if you do that right, you can launch yourself all the way to the, oh, I wasn't in that checkpoint. Fun fact. I'm gonna play this safe and make sure I'm in the checkpoint. Alright. So this is Magic Box. It's the worst level in the game. It's also the longest level in the game. It is the only level in the game left whose IO time is over 4 minutes. And it's heartbreaking. It's like 4 minutes 30 seconds, so it's not even close. As much as I would love to break the 4-minute barrier on every level, doesn't really look to be a thing on Magic Box. I'm gonna respawn here because that's gonna despawn a death plane, so I can just fall through right here. So technically, the entire level here is supposed to exist inside of that box, but I broke the lore a bit. Turns out it's just underneath, but invisible. So sorry if you were really attached to the lore of this level and I ruined it for you. Anyways, main gimmick is size changing on this level, so you know what that means. Means I'm gonna wait here until he does his animation. Come on, bro. And head on through. Going to the McDonald's play place. You're supposed to grab onto the rocks here to climb up, but you can actually just pull forwards and it's faster. Gonna cut through these dominoes. So I was moving with only one thumbstick there. It's slightly slower. I think it's like 90% of the speed of using both thumbsticks. But for fitting through tight gaps, it's very, very helpful. So for short instances like that, it's worth doing. So cool thing about these gravity fields is that if you stretch in them, you're gonna get a lot of speed very, very quickly. And I'm gonna be using that right here. So as soon as I get into this gravity field, I'm gonna hold upright and stretch, and that's gonna send me here. And I don't wanna fall off. Don't fall off, don't fall off. Cool. And stretch again here to make the elevator faster. And then you can land on this ledge and get a slight little boost. And then up to here. That was like the quickest I've ever done that. That was amazing. Damn, we're getting PHOGS lore in chat. Let's go. Alright, so I'm pretty, key cycles to make here. I think I'm good, yeah. If you don't make that cycle, you'll have to wait along for it to get big again. Alright, if you've ever been a child, you know how to play this minigame. So basically what you want to do is get every single shape into the square hole. Actually, you're just gonna be making this face. Yeah, if you've seen the PHOGS sweating, that means they're fully stretched. So you might be asking why I'm playing these minigames at all. if I could just, you know, break into worms most of the time. Unfortunately, for a little perspective trick at the end of this level, the final worm of this level is much, much smaller than normal worms, meaning that it is impossible by realistic means to clip into. It has been done before. I've done it, and I'm pretty sure Kalimog, who's a glitch hunter for this game, also has done it. I don't remember. I think they said something like that, but it's not reasonable. So instead, we're actually going to be doing the content, which is heartbreaking, I know, but gotta be done. Anyways, I wonder what's going on here. Am I getting bigger, or is everything else getting smaller? Yeah, so everything else is getting smaller, so that's why the worm at the end is super small. Can't clip into it because of that. Its collision's different. But that's Magic Box. Luckily, that's the longest level in the game, so every level is shorter than that. Unless I do something horribly, horribly wrong. Which could happen. Happened before. Will happen again, guaranteed. Anyways, now I'm going to move on to the final main level of Play World. And that is Stationary Village. So Stationary Village has an incredible IL route that is absolutely not RTA viable. Look it up if you're interested. It's about a minute and a half shorter, because I won't be doing it here. But it's very cool and completely different from the RTA strats. So right there, I was in a trigger volume called a glide zone. What a glide zone will do is speed you up in the direction you're traveling. So by going off that ramp at an angle, I was able to actually build sideways speed and skip a bit of stuff as a result. So the main gimmick of Stationary Village is coming up. It's ice, which is a very, very cool mechanic that I wish was in the game more, because you can do anything with ice. So I'm gonna make this boomerang shape, and you notice that if I try to uppy while I'm in ice, I basically have a jump button now. So that's really handy for just getting around stuff. So if you can be ice in this level, be ice. Stay ice. Incidentally, I was able to get up there too, because once again, gravity's calculated on each head separately. So I was able to have one head in the gravity field and one head out to do some little shenanigans to pull myself up like that. Yeah, get small and then freeze myself, and then hopefully jump up here. Nice. Jump on over. That's Frederick, by the way. Say hi to Frederick. We're going to be destroying him very soon. You'll be able to watch the Fog get pet probably in 15 or so minutes, so stick around for that. Alright, so I'm gonna do a pretty tricky setup here to get this shape, and that's gonna help me hopefully get across this gap. But it's gonna be close! Get up! Come on! Yes! I believed in you the whole time. I never doubted you. Hop along these crayons, get right here, and then hop across to get into the checkpoint that's right here. And that's going to respawn you and give you the star immediately. Very handy. So what I'm going to be doing now is something that's in many other speed games that you may have not expected to be in this speed game, or maybe you have, considering, you know, the kind of game it is, but I'm going to be doing a proxy. So what I'm gonna do is freeze myself in a specific shape. So I'm gonna stretch off here and then let myself dangle, and then about here grab. And then this is gonna spin me 90 degrees. And when I do the third spin, it's gonna spin me 90 degrees right into here. And unfortunately, I did not get a lot of height from it, but I got a bit of a proxy. If you get more height, you can not only skip the section I just skipped, but also this section right here. And it's very cool, but it's still a proxy. So if I got enough height, I'd be able to make it all the way to this part right here. But I did not. Alright, if I timed this perfectly, which I absolutely don't think I did, yeah, I did not, you can get it so that you land exactly in the worm's mouth, and it's very, very satisfying. I've only ever done it once, but it feels great. It's just the perfect feeling. That's Stationary Village. So now we're going to be moving on to the boss level, Frederick. This will either take about a minute and a half, or it's going to take like 5 minutes something. Depends how Frederick skip goes. So the way Frederick works is there's 3 minigames that are picked in a random order that you gotta play, and then there's a final 4th minigame. But there's a wheel that you select like the first 3 minigames from, and you can actually enter it multiple times in a single cycle. And if you do that, you'll actually skip the first 3 minigames potentially. So I could either skip anywhere between 0 and 3 minigames. I'm hoping for 3. I don't expect 3, but I will absolutely like pop off if I get 3. If I get 1 or 2, I'll be pretty happy. If I get 0, I'll be like distraught. So we'll see how it goes. My mood for this run depends very heavily on this. One, 2. It's fine. That's a double Frederick skip right there. I'll take it. And luckily, so of the 3 random minigames, 2 of them are a minute long, and 1 of them is 2 minutes 30 seconds long. And we got one of the minute ones. So like that's some RNG technically, but like if you get the triple Frederick skip, it's not RNG because you skip all of them. It's a weird sort of pseudo RNG thing where if you messed up the strat, you get RNG. But I got good RNG. So we got this whack-a-mole game. Like, it's pretty hard to do solo because you kind of have to control the 2 heads very independently of each other. Takes some getting used to. And I'm sure as heck not used to it. It's hard. And then just hit 2 sets of these. And then you can get up here, hit the final one, and that's the minigame. And now, since I did 2 Frederick skips, I should have the final minigame right here instead of having to do any others. Yep. Welcome to tennis. So tennis is very exciting. So what you do is you hit the ball, and then you respawn, and then you hit the ball, and then you respawn, and then you just keep doing that for like a minute. So points in tennis only count up when you hit the ball, so the fastest way to do that is just to respawn every time you hit the ball and not let Frederick play tennis at all. Second phase, same as the first. Sometimes it can take a little bit to hit the ball. I'm not actually sure why. That can be pretty annoying. Third phase, same as the first 2. Yeah, I hate when I'm playing tennis and my opponent just keeps respawning. Serving over and over again. One more hit. Yep, there we go. That's Frederick. I'm very happy that only took like 2.5 minutes instead of like 5. Very, very cool. Very cool when that happens. So just gotta zap him a few times with his wand. And that's Playworld done. So now I'm gonna be moving on to the 3rd and kind of final, not really final world, which is Food World. So Food World's sort of a inverse Playworld, where Playworld has a really, really fast first half and then a really, really slow second. Food World's the opposite, really slow first half, pretty fast second. Though I'm not going to be doing one of the strats that makes the second half really fast because it's not marathon safe. It's barely RTA safe. The only reason I do it in RTA is because my PB does it. It's the absolute struggle. I wish I never implemented it. It's a great way to lose like 70% of your runs that make it to Food World. Anyways, moving on to the first level of Food World, which is Jumpkin' Patch. It's one of the most tame levels in the game, in my opinion. Not too much exciting about it. Main gimmick's these jumpkins, they jumpkin you. You're gonna see jumpkins a lot through Food World, they're pretty useful. Gonna climb up this rock to skip whatever this puzzle is. So kind of the funny thing about Food World is by the time I got here playing with Rare Light Co-op in my casual playthrough, we both had a pretty good understanding of like the speed tech for this game. So we never actually really did any of these puzzles. So if you want to know how to do these puzzles the actual intended way, I actually don't know. So you do something here, and then you get this through. So the main gimmick of Food World is you give food to the worms, and then they let you in. Is there a reason I do the worlds in the order I do? I do sleep first because early Nightmare is a nightmare, especially if I do the RTA version that I'm not doing in this run, where instead of skipping 3 levels, I skip 6 levels. So I basically got to do sleep first or I'll not have fun. I do play second because Frederick skip can be annoying, and there's a few other things that can be annoying. Food I do third because it has the least that can go wrong, though it still is. Everything has stuff that can go wrong. But you can do them in any order. It's not really faster to do a specific order. So if you decide to learn this game and like you find a different world order more comfy, feel free to go ahead and do that world order. Shoot, gotta make it up onto this pumpkin.
Do I have time to read a couple things?
Go ahead.
Cool. We have a $50 donation from Kalimag who says, "Power up with PHOGS." And I also wanted to do a plug here for the upcoming Monkey Ball Blockette we have coming up. There are 2 bid war incentives for those games for Super Monkey Ball and Rolled Out, both of which are choosing the monkey for those runs respectively. So if you'd like to see that and pick that up, then yeah, check that out.
Big thanks to Kalimug for the $50. I am not sure where they get the money to donate every time I do a PHOGS in a marathon, but I do appreciate it. Suspicious amounts of money. Stealing mom's credit card. But yeah, Kalimog developed the training mod for this game, which allows us to visualize triggers and collision boxes and stuff like that. And it's been absolutely instrumental for routing this game. So many of these strats would not exist if it wasn't for Kalimog, so huge shoutouts to them. Turn on the water there, and then grab this fruit, and then end the level. There we go, and that is Jumpkin' Patch. Moving on to the second and longest level of Food World, which is Munchlet Market. Pretty cool level, has some cool stuff, but it is just under 4 minutes long. Or it'll probably be over 4 minutes long because I don't think I'm going to get an IOPB here. But you never know, I could. Let's just hop up here, hop through the water because it's a little bit faster. And into Munchlet Market. So Munchlet Market begins with these 2 friends here who are very angry at each other. I don't know what their deal is because I never actually did this part, but that's their problem to sort out. See ya, guys. And then head on up here. So the gimmick of this level are munchlets. Those are those guys on the left. They like to eat stuff, so you're supposed to let them out the pin, and then they'll eat the jumpkins there, but you can just jumpkin over the jumpkins. Up here, don't know what this person's deal is, but hope they're doing alright. I think they want you to do the harvest for them, but that's their problem. See ya. And then, once again, more jumpkins that I'm not going to touch because it's faster to just ignore the munchlets. Head over here and take the fruit to the worm. And now we're going to be going to the market part of Munchlet Market, which is the cool part. So first thing, there's going to be a little bit of RNG right here that will determine whether the position of these munchlets wants to be good. I want them basically completely out of my way so I don't accidentally grab one of them. This guy's chasing me down. Thank you. It can be annoying just trying to jump over that fence and then you accidentally grab a munchlet instead. Get over here. So there's supposed to be a eating contest minigame at the tent to the back that we're supposed to win to progress, but I'm just going to go over here instead. There's a big invisible wall blocking the next section of the level, so I'm going to actually have to get on top of that invisible wall. So I'm going to go to the highest point in the market, which is right about here, and then try and do a really good upbeat. Hold on. No. No. There we go. So I didn't actually save time doing that. Probably didn't lose much time, but this really only saves a few seconds. I only do it because it's cool. So if I take a few seconds to get the upbeat, then I'm not actually saving time, but it's a cool strat. To hop onto an invisible wall and then surf along it. Gotta cut down this asparagus or rhubarb or whatever it's supposed to be. Some kind of vegetable. Just back and forth. You can probably get across there without sawing it down, but I haven't found a good strat for doing it. Anyways, for the people that are asking about petting the fog, that will be coming up very, very soon. That'll be coming up in about 15-20 seconds. So coming up here is a very, very hard uppie, and what is essential for doing this uppie properly is you gotta let this guy here pet you. If you don't let him pet you, then I don't know what you're doing. You're not playing the run right. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. So this section here just loves to like throw you off, so you gotta be very careful getting up on that broccoli. Grab this fruit, and then I'm gonna go at this at an angle and buffer a grab so that I can grab this while in the cutscene, and that will let me ride up this elevator while I'm in the cutscene, instead of having to wait until the cutscene ends. And jump over here to hit this checkpoint trigger. Move these two munchlets out of the way, because I don't trust them. Why are they coming right back? So you're supposed to get the munchlets into the pen so that they won't try and eat the fruit, but if you sort of just kite them around like that, you can just get through fine. And get on through. And that's Munchlet Market. Gonna do another quick to hub here to skip a cutscene. Something interesting about food worms is that when I do that, I don't actually have to wait a second because the food worms, for whatever reason, spawn their collision much more quickly. Food worms are just built different. Anyways, look at this fruit-shaped dog that is nothing else. So some people, I'll tell the story. I'll acknowledge it. Some people insist that the fruits in this game are actually acorns, and that right there is a corn dog. I don't appreciate this kind of humor. For one, it's factually wrong, and for two, it's just rude. So this is Sunday Springs. We're now in the dessert section of Food World. So I'm gonna head up here, climb up the ice cream right here, and climb up the strawberry. And for whatever reason, there's an invisible ledge right here I can just ride along. It's almost like they intended you to do that. It's very handy, but climbing up that saves quite a bit of time. There's a whole bunch of stuff down there you're supposed to do that we're not doing. So it's very, very good that they put that invisible ledge there so that you can do the skip. Dev door. So there's gonna be a little bit of RNG coming up about whether the munchlets want to be bros or not. Let's see if they want to be bros. If the water is on over here, they're bros. They're not bros. So yeah, they move around randomly, and if they feel like it, they can turn on the water by themselves, and it's a little bit faster. It doesn't save too much time. Oh, you going to do it now that I'm here? No, he wasn't even doing it. Gotta get him into the water too. But yeah, you can literally walk over to this section of the level, and it's like already done. Trust your depth perception to land on top of this. And then we used to have a whole bunch of very hard strats for doing this section fast. As it turns out, we didn't need any of them because runner called Jonimus discovered that there's actually no collision above this marshmallow, and you can literally just up you over it. Very handy. Alright, head on up here. So this is just the final section of... Are people posting that 1K emote because we hit 1K, or is that for something else that I don't understand?
They were posting it because we have just cleared the $6,000 mark.
Oh, never mind. Never mind. I thought it was 1,000. It's 6,000. Very, very cool. Alright. So for this section right here, I'm gonna grab this fruit from here and place it right next to this fruit. Might wonder why I just don't use the fruit that's right there. It's because its collision box is slightly buried into the ground, which makes it much more tricky to grab, which is going to be important for what I'm about to do. So I'm going to get up here, and then grab the fruit that's easier to grab instead of the one that's way harder, and then fling to the end of the level. And that's Sunday Springs. So now that is all the long levels of Food World done, and now we get to do fast big skips levels. So the time of big skips has returned, and it's basically big skips on every level for the rest of the run. Actually, that's not true. The last level of Food won't have any because I'm not doing the big skip because it's not RTA viable, or it's RTA viable because it's in my PB, but it's not reasonable. It's not RTA reasonable. Alright, pretty tricky skip I can do right here. By timing this jet stream exactly right, I can make it up to here without having to use the second jet stream. Very good. Grab the fruit. And then up onto here. I'm going to be very safe on this elevator, because this elevator loves to, if you de-stretch while it's still moving, it loves to get you stuck in the elevator, and then you just have to respawn, and it's awful. Yeah, by not RTA reasonable, I mean it's not marathon safe. And probably if you're learning this game, you should just not do it, because I'm now at a point where I kind of hate running this game, because every time I get a run to the big strat in the final level of food, I lose the run, and then I get mad. Not the best time. Great speed game regardless, though. But it can be a little frustrating. Alright, move this elevator down. And then when the Munchlet is obscured from vision, that's my setup to jump off the side here and land in this water. Trust me, this is water. You may not see the water, but it's water. So I actually haven't done what you need to get the water to spawn here, but the water is still here in spirit, and that's all that matters. We basically just skip most of the level. There's a huge section there where you gotta make some nice fudge for a cool octopus chef guy. We didn't do that. You didn't even see the octopus chef guy. He's huge. Because it's fast to just jump to the side. There's the octopus chef guy. Alright. It's now time for an absolute nightmare of a level. It's time for Fruity Factory. Used to be a chill, comfy level, and now it is no longer a chill, comfy level. It has one big skip, kinda. One big skip, and then like an asterisk next to that. It's actually two big skips. We're gonna have to do the big skip twice, because there's no other way to do it. And it's a struggle. Could potentially have to do it 3 times if I mess up after, but sure hope not.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Sure.
I have $100 from JCT Wizard. It says, "Remember, son, a long dog is a heavy dog."
True. So we got this trolley here. I'm gonna try and get myself off the trolley in a very specific way, and then bring myself up like this, and then that looks not that good. So my goal is to make it to the conveyor belt that's right here. Yeah, I'm just like a foot off. It's a very, very hard fling, but it does save like 3 minutes if I can do it, so it's important. I also don't like this. It's closer. No, it's not. Just kidding, it's like the exact same spot. Bear with me, this will take a bit. This always takes a bit. Unless you're my unreasonably good PB where it gets it first try. Alright, this is making it. Whee! Boop. Anyways, this is the end of the level. Unfortunately, I don't have any method to clip into the worm or to open the worm, which means I'm gonna have to do the Dreamfields, go in from below, respawn at the checkpoint, and then go in again. And the problem with that is that the closest checkpoint is back on that trolley, which means after I respawn here, I'm gonna have to do the same skip again. So you better really hope I was in that trigger, because if I was not in that trigger, then I'm doing this a 3rd time, and I don't want to do this a 3rd time. This is gonna be close. I don't think it's making it. It's very close. Like a centimeter off. That's making it. Easy. Easy peasy. Moment of truth. Did I get in the trigger? We'll find out very, very soon. By whether the level ends or not. And if the level doesn't end, I'm doing that fling a 3rd time. This is an annoying pull up there. It likes to just pull you off. Hey, we're in the trigger. Let's go. So that's Fruity Factory. Could have gone worse. I'll take it. It's a very cool strat. It's a cool strat. I just hate it because you gotta do it twice. It's so stressful. If you only had to do it once, I would have been like, oh, this is one of the coolest strats in the game. Check this out. But it's the fact that you gotta do it twice. Anyways, here's the final main level of Food World. That is Jelly Junction. So Jelly Junction is the home of the infamous pizza skip, which I will not be doing because it is not marathon safe in the slightest. There's a pizza we're gonna have to make, and it's gonna take like a minute and a half to make the pizza, or like honestly like 2.5 minutes to make the pizza. And you can skip it. It's just basically you have to do the flip into the worm trigger from below strat I just did on Fruity Factory, but you got to do it with the worst possible camera angle where you literally can't see anything. And you just have to do it by muscle memory and setups. And it's just the worst. Coming up is the easiest sequence break in the game. If you want to do this on your casual playthrough, very, very, very easy. Don't even need to know how to do any speed tech. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna walk over here and then you're just gonna hop off. Congrats, you did it. So there's a cycle here that I'm hopefully making. It's gonna be super close. Made it, nice. So it only spits out so many molds there at a time, and then it takes a while to spawn the next set. So if you miss that cycle, you'll lose a fair bit of time and break your heart. But we gotta make a little gummy for this worm here, because he's a very picky eater. All the other worms have been fine with like just fruits, but these worms are very picky. And the pickiest worm is the next worm's coming up. It's the pizza worm. Wants a whole pizza. So we're gonna make that guy a whole pizza. First we're gonna have to make the sauce, and it looks like we're getting an orange in the sauce. Exciting, zesty. Let's go. So get this to a height so we'll just cut without you doing anything. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, respawn. There's a lot of cool RNG stuff that can happen with this pizza to determine what goes in it. You get like oranges, you can get strawberries and stuff. You can get all kinds of wild stuff, so it is fun to make. But having the knowledge that you don't actually have to do all this, a little sad. Go about here. There we go, made the dough. Just gonna plop the dough down over there next to the rolling pin. And now that's gonna start the elevator, but using the elevator is slower than just hopping off right here, so I'm just gonna hop off right here. And now we're gonna roll the dough. Now we got the sauce, and now we're gonna make this pizza completely irredeemable by coating ourselves in sauce and then saucing the pizza by just walking over it. So enjoy the dog hair all over the pizza. Pizza is now beyond saving. And then we're gonna pull it on up. And now launch some toppings at it. So let's see what we got. Got cheese, strawberry, tomato. Sounds delightful. Unfortunately, no pineapple, so I couldn't make any pineapple pizza jokes, but you get what you get. The strawberry on pizza sounds incredibly cursed, so I'll take it. Incidentally, this is just saved in a PNG file in the game's folder, so if you want to make your own pizza textures, you can make your own pizza textures, but it'll be overwritten every time you make the pizza again. Anyways, that's the final level of Food World. So now we're going to move on to the boss, which is Tony, first name Glut, last name Tony, Glut Tony, if you get what it's going for there. So this is a low level after time trigger, and the fastest way to get into it is just hop over the side here and then pull out, and then you can just hang into this guy while you wait for the level to load. How's it going, buddy? Make his day. Alright. Now we got Tony, so you can see a whole lot of like platforming and puzzles and stuff to the side. I'm not going to be doing any of that. It takes time. Turn on the water here, then hop up. And then, I don't like this. I think I just forked it. Where am I? Okay, I'm here. Okay, I'm just gonna wait for him to eat another one. There we go. So basically, you gotta get inside his belly as quick as possible. And this is the quickest way inside his belly. And then you can pull out the munchlets in there, and that's Tony. There's a lot of horror in this game. Alright. Quit to home hub, and then quit to main menu, and there's gonna be a cool cutscene skip I can do here, if I can do it. Let's see. It will only save like 5 seconds, but it's a very cool skip. Yeah, looks like I got it. So this is gonna open up to the final level, and because I'm on top of it in the cutscene, I'm just gonna fall into the trigger well in the cutscene. And that's gonna start the level early. Very cool little skip. Alright, and now we're in the final level, Lost Temple. So Lost Temple is divided into 2 parts, Lost Temple 1 and Lost Temple 2. The game thinks Lost Temple 1 is going to be a lot longer than Lost Temple 2, and in fact, Lost Temple 1 is the only one that's actually tracked in the in-game IL timers for individual levels. What am I doing? I don't know what I was doing there. But in fact, Lost Temple 2 is going to be much, much longer, because we're going to skip almost all of Lost Temple 1. Hop up over this rock to get over an invisible wall that's right here. And then normally you'd have to move that spotlight to make this bridge, but as it turns out, the checkpoint on the other side of this bridge is, I think, the biggest checkpoint in the entire game. So even doing that will trigger the checkpoint. Very, very handy. So now, you're supposed to do the right door, then the left door, and then the middle door. You can actually climb up right here. Just scale this slope to go straight behind the left door. But you can go even further than that. So instead, you can jump right at this seam. Nope, not a good jump. If you jump at it right, you'll start gaining a lot of height really, really quick, like that, to get up here. And now, I'm gonna go and get off to the side there. There we go, that looks good. And then swing redhead over into the mouth here. And there you go, that's waterway skip. And now I can go, because this isn't loaded properly, I can go right behind the middle door. And that's how you skip almost all of Lost Temple 1. Anyways, you might notice something right here. Everything's fine, don't worry about it, it's all good. There's nothing to be concerned about. So, what happened was, in the previous level that we just skipped most of, there's supposed to be a section where the 2 heads get separated. So when you enter this level, you're going to be separated right away. But it's sort of jarring if you don't get the actual part in the level before it. The section for solo is actually, it's hard for both solo and co-op, but for solo it's especially kind of frustrating because sort of in the game you're kind of moving like 2 separate instances at once, but now you're definitely doing that. You notice for a lot of it, I'm going to have one head grabbing onto the back of the other head. That's just for like stability and predictability. Gonna do the actual intended strat for this because it's actually really fast. And now we got a very hard section. So if you do this section the intended way, it takes a long, long time. I don't want to do that. So instead I'm going to do it the unintended way, which is hard. So I'm going to push this here and then get this head up. I don't like the shape this head has. I want the back more angled out because I'm going to need to grab onto it. But I got it anyways. There you go. And that's how you do that section fast. That can go really wrong in a lot of ways. That final uppy there is like really, really precise. But got it first try, so easy every time. Now, up here, you're supposed to grab onto the rings that are beside that statue, and that's gonna let you like stretch and then reconnect the two heads. That is unfortunately pretty slow because it's gonna start a cutscene. So instead, what I'm gonna do is get up here and then uppy into the checkpoint that's right here, and then when I respawn, I'm gonna be connected right away. Unfortunately, there in the cutscene that was supposed to play there that I skipped, there was supposed to be a music trigger to play some happy music. It was like do 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 do. Not getting that. Getting silence for the next minute and a half or so. Enjoy it. It gives it a much more menacing tone, I think. Yeah, it's supposed to be happy because we're like Super Saiyan Fox right now, but no music. Gonna stretch in this elevator to build up a lot of speed to skip this section here. You can actually, and it is theoretically possible to not only skip the floor I just skipped, but to skip this floor too. I have done it exactly once. It is a 1 in a million thing. I never expect it to happen in a run, but you can technically get all the way from that fling to this platform right here. And then you can clip into the checkpoint from the other side of this puzzle to avoid doing this puzzle. And then grab onto this, and that's sort of the last meaningful input of the run, but there's still a couple minutes left. Timing will end when the credits appear, but we're gonna have some time to hang around before that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the run. If you are interested in running this game, we have a Discord, speedrun.com. We have a YouTube tutorial. If you want to learn that, it's a little bit outdated, but it has most of the stuff in there. Other than that, yeah, big shout out to Author Blues and Greg Gildersleeve for running this game at a decently high level started. Big shout out to Rarelike for being a cool dude and a cool co-op partner. And also discovering a fair amount of tech in this game. And also big thanks to Kalimog for making the training mod, and also finding a ton of strats in this game. Really, there's so much in this game that wouldn't exist without Kalimog. So we're going to awaken our Pillarmen Fog friends right here. Waken them from their stone prison. And now we can just hang out for a bit until the credits roll. Play around with the other fogs. Unfortunately, I wish you could actually play as these fogs in a New Game Plus mode or something, but unfortunately you cannot. But you can hang out with them. And then after this cutscene ends, the credits will start, and that will be timed. It's just showing all the bosses being happy and chill. And time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoy the rest of the marathon. Again, if you want to learn this game, I do have a video guide. Other than that, I can pass it off to the marathon staff. Thanks for watching, everyone.
And thank you, Sean, for that amazing run. Wasn't that great, everyone? Let's give Sean more round of applause in the chat.